Hi students, today we are going to illuminate this light and turn this environment into nighttime. So I always start by just duplicating the original image by doing Command J. Command J. Alright, and then once I've done that, there's actually two ways that you can do this. So I'm going to show you both ways. One is if you go to the adjustment layer, you can scroll down to color lookup. And then with color lookup, under the very top one that says 3D LUT file, you can actually click on the menu here and scroll down to night from day .cube. And then this makes it dark immediately. But you can see that it has a strong blue tint, which sometimes we can see, especially in twilight. So I'm going to turn this off just so I can show you the other way. So the other way, I'm going to then select the layer 1 that I just created, and now I'm going to go back to the adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to exposure. And then once I get to exposure, I'm going to go to the slider that says exposure, and I'm going to reduce the exposure down. You know, we want it to be dark enough, but we want to see it. So maybe 2.53, something along those lines. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to click back to layers, and I'm just going to leave the exposure one open, but I'm not going to get rid of the other one. It could be an option here. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually turn off the exposure, go back to my layer 1, and I'm going to zoom into the light here. And when I zoom in here, what I want to do is go to the polygonal lasso tool, and I'm going to select the inside part of this lantern here, like that. And then with the selection here, I'm going to now do Command J, and it's going to move this selection to a new layer. Now I'm going to move layer 2 up to the very top, okay? And then let's go ahead and just name the layer 2 light glass, whatever seems to be appropriate for what you're doing. All right, now I'm going to zoom back out here, and now I'm going to turn back the exposure on, but because I moved the light glass up, you can see that it stayed the same here. And one of the things I want to do with the light glass is going to change the blending mode. And so I can kind of, you know, scroll through any of these options here. I don't know, I think that you can pick whatever you think is appropriate. So I might do this linear dodge. So let me click it on and click it off. Yeah, I might keep it like that. I can also, you know, this is what the normal looks like. Let's see, I can also maybe do, you can look at this linear light, pen light as well. Let's see, I think I'll just leave it as this linear dodge. Okay, with that selected, now what I want to do is I am going to add a gradient here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to just select the gradient tool here, and I'm going to come in and do the radial gradient at the very top. Before you actually make the gradient, make sure that you go in and you select under the basics. All I did was I select this middle one, which has the color, the foreground to transparent. Okay, so I'll just do that again just so that we can see. And then with the white highlighted here, I double click and I'm going to scroll up and just kind of find a warm yellow orange-ish. The color can be anything. I don't think you have to match it exactly what I have here. Let's see, maybe a little more yellow, like that. All right, and I press OK. And then you see how that already changed the color in my gradient here. All right, so now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to click. When I click on this, I'm going to click in the center here. Whoops. Let me undo that, make sure that I'm on the actual radial gradient. And I know that it wasn't on the radial gradient because it should look like this. So I'm going to first do something along the lines of this. So I'm just going to kind of get in my ellipse, and then I'm going to adjust the range. Okay, so I might do something along the lines of that, and then I'm going to accept that. And then before I do anything, let's go back over to the blending modes here, and let's take a look at what our options are. So maybe the linear light might work here. And again, if I move my light glass up to the top, you can see that it makes it super bright. Okay, so I don't have this totally refined yet, but before I do that, I want to continue kind of putting in my light. So I'm going to now create a new layer, go at the bottom, press the plus symbol here, and I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to make sure that I put the light on the ground. So have the exact same light source here. I'm going to click the radial, and now I'm going to draw another sort of ellipse here. I'm going to bring this down like this, grab the center and kind of move it over, and then put in this linear light. And I probably want to make that a little less here, so I'm just adjusting the opacity here. So I'll kind of figure out what that might work like that. So I might make that a little flatter. All right, and then I'm just going to accept this. Okay, now I'm going to do one more gradient in here. I'm going to add another layer, and then this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the polygonal lasso tool, and from the bottom of the lantern I'm going to draw kind of a triangle along the lines of this, so you can see. So if you want to just kind of follow along with what I'm doing here, and then I'm going to close that off. All right, now I'm going to go over to the gradient tool again, and this time I'm going to go back over to the linear gradient, and I'm going to now click on here and then drag down. So once I've dragged down, right, kind of like that, and you can see that this edge is pretty abrupt here, but I can adjust that. So you can see that in my layers panel on this layer I have this mask. So I'm going to double click the mask itself so that it opens up this dialog box that says properties, and I'm now going to change the feather of it. I'm just going to slide it over so I can see what the light is. Okay, so that light is looking pretty good. I'm going to go back to my original sphere here, or the ellipse that I have here, and I actually want to make this maybe a little, it just is glowing too much. Maybe something along the lines of this, and I might actually bring that down a little bit, only because the lantern has a metal top, so it's probably not illuminating out from there. Okay, and then let's take a look at what this looks like. Doesn't look terrible. All right, so let's see if we can do a little more refinement here. I might bring this in just a little bit more, and I might drop this down just a little bit more too. All right, so now I have what looks like an illumination here. I can also check this, so if I have linear light here for my blending mode, linear light, and then I have normal on this one, so what would normal look like? So let me just go up here and look at the normal, and then maybe I come down here and I also do normal, and I think that works as well. So it's really up to you, but this is how I might go about developing and creating a light source in an image so that it really kind of highlights what I'm looking at.